Hi guys, it's a beautiful sunny day. Again, so it's winter time now. You can see the snow in Sweden. Generally, I don't like being here. I really miss Kenya. So continue to do videos about my experience in Kenya that might help and benefit others. So this video will be about malaria and my experience with it, as it is, I would say it's quite a fear in the Western world. So I've been in Kenya for long periods, like 6 months in a row, like about 6 times, and from the beginning I never wanted to use this preventative medicines for malaria, although they were recommended, because I did some small research and I found out that they are quite toxic to a lot of things in the system, and I did not want to put myself to those toxins over a longer period of time. If I would have gone for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, maybe 2 months, I could have used those things, but as I decided early I wanted to go for a longer period, I did not use them. And in the areas I've been, malaria has been very common, and I've been bitten by mosquitoes a lot of times, and I've gotten malaria a lot of times. So I would say my first experience, my first time I got it, I guess it wasn't so bad, because I could go to the doctor and test. So in Kenya, all over in all the small towns, there's small clinics, and testing malaria is very easy, and it's quick. It takes like 20 minutes or half an hour. There are some tests that are faster than that. I guess the more modern tests are getting faster. I haven't been to test for quite some time now. So I just felt like not so good. My joints started to ache. I got some fevers in the night, and it wasn't really, it was bad but not very bad. And I was tested, and they could see I had malaria, so I started to take drugs, even the fake ones, that are very cheap. Like, you can get malaria drugs for like $2. So it's not very expensive. It's not expensive, it's quite affordable. And even the testing was like also like $2 or so. Maybe the drugs were slightly more, but not much. And definitely you can get treatment for less than $10, definitely, in Kenya, that is. So it hasn't been, and I've got it several times. I did get it several times my first time I was in Kenya, and I did get it in other periods too. And there was like one time I was really sick, and I guess it was the second time or third time, because that time I went to the doctor early, because I could feel the symptoms as headache, then fever, and then shivering, and then feeling cold, and then it mixes, it jumps between each other, and normally you get pain in the joints. I get pain in the joints and my back. That's how I can really like the first symptoms of it. So I did did go to the doctor that time, and they tested me, and I got drugs, and then I waited a bit, and then I went someplace. I didn't stay where I used to stay. I stayed in another place, and this was a bit rural, a bit far from the town. And then I got during that night I got extremely sick, and the drugs that I had bought, they did not help. So that night I really got sick of it. Really sick, like really hard to sleep because of the pain in the body. I was vomiting, and one mistake that I did, I didn't take enough water. If I could have taken more water, I would have been better off, because what happened was during the night I became extremely dehydrated, and I couldn't call for a taxi because it was raining too much. So the road to this place that I've gone was flooded, so no cars could come there, and I just had to persevere in that night. And it was really painful, extremely painful. So it's like I had malaria for like 2 or 3 days after I got my first symptoms. So this was the longest period of time that I have had having the symptoms but not being treated. And I got really severely pains, and I got pains even where I slept. So if I slept on one side, I woke up after 20 minutes, then I had to sleep on the other side, and I did that the whole night. I never really slept. And when I woke up the next morning, my great family, the host family, they came to get me, the one I usually stay with. So they came with a taxi, and they got me, and we got to a clinic, and there I could be treated. And at that time, when I came to that hospital, I was so dehydrated, so it was difficult for them to find the veins where they can inject. Like you can see, like they tried to find the veins in my hand, and they tried to find it in my arm, it's called the armpit. So that was a bad experience. And I guess that's how malaria is. If you get the symptoms and you treat yourself, it's fine. But after some days, and you're a Europeans, we don't have a good. Our immune system is not really in the genes are not really so strong for malaria. So you should take care. Yeah, and yeah. So after some days, it can be really bad. And I guess if it would have continued for 1 or 2 days, it would have been. I could have put myself in quite severe danger for my life, I would say. Yeah. So malaria is real. It's really in Kenya. It's all over. It's a lot. But as long as you know where to go, a good clinic, a good hospital, even the local ones that are very cheap, you can easily treat yourself, or you can easily be treated for the malaria. So it's not something really to worry about. And my recommendation is, if you're in Kenya for a shorter period, you can it's fine to use those preventive medicines. That's not very bad. So the only problem that I got was after having malaria, like after 5 times, and also having a lot of other diseases a lot of times, like amoeba and typhoid, and these things are very common because I've been staying in Kenya in a very simple manner, so sometimes the foods have not been all that 100%, or even the water I've been washing my hands haven't been clean enough. So this has really been my biggest obstacle as I've been in Kenya, as I've been staying very traditional lives and simple lives and living with the locals. So I decided actually to try different medicines and that are traditional, and and funny enough is that those medicines seem to be more effective, they are cheaper, and they do not cause long-term problems. Like when I've been sick this much, I've been getting a lot of. I've been taking medicines frequently. I've been getting sick and weak in my body, and I blamed the medicines. So until I found herbal medicines to cleanse myself, I felt better. And after that, I started to try now the local medicines. And and I've gotten really good results, because like some of the herbs I've just I've felt in the beginning. What I did is I did find out some of the local medicines, and then I kept them, and I didn't use them. I kept them, like if I would get sick I would try them. And then like the 5th time I got malaria. You see, I've gotten it quite a lot. It is a common disease. The 5th time I got it, I decided to what I did. I had the herbal medicines, and then I went to the clinic to test, and then and then I also bought like the medicines from the clinic, so that I had a reserve if the local medicine wouldn't work. And funny enough, the local medicine worked really good. really good, and it was extremely bitter. And this has been my experience with all the local medicines that I've tried against malaria. It's really bitter, really bitter. And then I just took it. The first one I took was called Entipiliqua. It's a Maasai herb you can find it well in Kajiado area. It's grown in dry areas, so it's the bark of that tree. And I just stirred it in small water for like 30 seconds, small bark. And then I just took it, the whole water, removing now the bark, and it was extremely bitter. And imagine this, after like 2 hours, I was okay. And then I didn't need to take it again, and the symptoms of malaria didn't come back. So this really amazed me and surprised me, I would say, because the medicine from the clinic, you take it 3 times a day, and you take it for like 7 days. Some are for more, 5 to 7 days. And it was difficult for me to like remembering all the times I would take it: morning, lunchtime, supper. And I had to take it after eating, because if I took it without food, it could really destroy my stomach. So the time period that I can now see the difference is really the local herbs have been really powerful compared to the one in the clinic. and cheap. And no side effects. While the ones I got from the clinic, I got sometimes. Some of the times I've been having malaria, I haven't really been sick. I've been feeling the symptoms early, and getting to the hospital early. And the time I've got sick is when I've started taking the medicine. Really, really weak in the body, and having taken that medicine, I had to stay in the house for like 3 or 4 days, not doing anything. They recommended me not to be out in the sun because the drugs, they believed that the drugs would react with the sun. So very, 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 very not so practical, I would say. Yeah, so if you have opportunities to try local medicine, do it. Be careful. There are local medicines that are not so good, and there are also local medicines that can be very strong, and you need to really find a person who you can trust. Personally, I only trust the Maasai people. Other tribes, they have some funny and fishy things going on with herbs, but do try them. I wouldn't discourage you for doing that. And one herb that I could really, really, really recommend, that is very, very available. You can even buy it in Sweden here. I found it in the internet. You can buy like capsules of it. That makes it so that you can digest it without it being bitter. So that's that's something great. And that's the Neem tree. In Kenya it's called Marubaine. It's an Indian herb, and it's the leaves of the herb that are dried, or you can use them fresh, and then you boil it in water for some time, and then you drink the water, sieving out the leaves. And it's also extremely bitter, but really, really powerful. That one I've used it like 3 or 4 times. It's okay. I've used it I've given for others who have had malaria like 5-6 times, and every time it has worked well. And it's all about now to use enough of it. It needs to be really bitter. If it's not bitter, it will not help you. At least that's my experience. Yeah. And with the Maasai herbs, the ones I've used that are really, really good, especially is Entipiliqua, if you can find that one. Entipiliqua, I'll write them down in the description below. And others that the Maasai use are also Osokoroi. I've not used it myself. Osokoroi, or Sokoni. Sokoni is a Samburu name. Osokoroi is also a Samburu name. Sokoni is called in Maasai Osokonoi, and it's also used the bark, and it's really, really bitter. And another one is Orkokola in Maasai, and ilkukulai or Orkokola in Samburu and Ilchamus. So that one is also good, but you need to find a bitter one, and you need to use the bark sometimes. Or you should use not the bark of Orkokola, you should use the bark of the roots, and it's very, very yellow, and you should use it when it's very, very bitter. Another one that I've not tried yet, but you can use, is something called yes, because of that I've forgotten. But I'll still put the description below. It's called sanetoi. Yes, I remembered. So sanetoi, it's the leaves. It's bitter, also very, very bitter. So another one that I haven't tried is the drops from aloe vera. There's a specific aloe vera and I will put the description below with the botanic name. So there are many medicines, herbal medicines for malaria. And funny enough, this thing, before I went to Kenya, I believed like it was quite a severely difficult disease, and like the statistics of the disease is like so many are dying of it. A lot of people, millions of people. But my experience in Kenya, hasn't been the disease I found anyone dying of. People die of hepatitis, AIDS, accidents with the car, accidents with accidents of piki, the motorcycle, and they die mostly of those diseases. They can die of cancer. Those are very common ones that I've experienced people around me dying or getting. But malaria, it has happened, and the time it happened, it was on the news. It happens once, like 20 people died in Baringo, and it was on the news. So I'm not so sure it has been like portrayed the right way in the Western world. I know it's a lot of fear about it, and maybe it shouldn't. Western like European, and if you have a European ancestry, your DNA might be very weak. Your genes might be very weak against malaria, so you should take care because of those reasons. Yeah, but yeah, and malaria is very common. People in Kenya really get malaria often, and at least they say how they like feel. And sometimes they might, like, if they have headache, they say, "Oh, I have malaria." Like, okay, maybe it's not malaria, but it's a way it's a way they say it. Another thing they say about malaria is that when it comes into the body, it will stay there, and even if you treat it, it will become inactive, and then someday it can become active again. Maybe this is the case. Maybe it's the case why I've gotten it so many times, although I don't believe so. Every time I've got it, it has been in Kenya. Every time I've got it, I've also been bitten by mosquitoes earlier, so I'm not very sure of that. It could be not. Could it be that malaria is not treated well with the medicine from the drugstore? Maybe. Could it be that the local medicine is more powerful? Yeah, I believe so. So the Western world is so proud of being so ahead of all the other cultures when it comes to medicine. Malaria, I'm not so sure about that. It has not been my experience. Actually, I would say I would recommend all the local guys, all people, watu ya wa Kenya, watu ya Tanzania, na Uganda, na ingine. Fanya hivi. Tumia dawa ya kawaida tu. Ni mzuri sana. You guys from East Africa, just use the local ones. They are really try them out. Really try them out. You might really find a good medicine and use them, because you'll save money. It will be better long term for your body, most likely, and yeah, it will save you time also if you have it stored in the house. And the herbs that I've used, they can store really well. I've used herbs that are like 2-3 years old. If they have dried well, if they have been a good medicine, it can be stored well and for a long time. So I hope you learned something new about what I've shared. and I hope you like that I'm making videos like this and sharing my experience. And don't forget to give thumbs up if you like the video, so that it can be more people can get access to it. As if you like it, it will be shared more with other people. So thank you for your time. God bless. See you next time.